Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. So you're probably wondering, what's this guy building again? So I'm going to fill you in here. So if you watched the last video, you know we bought a tractor, right? So the first thing I bought after I bought the tractor was I bought a set of pallet forks. So one of the things I want to do, and you can buy this, what I'm going to make here today, you can buy this, but I had this tubing and stuff laying around here, and I figured I'm just going to make one instead of spending any more money on this stuff. So what I'm making is I'm making an adapter for a hitch. So I can come in here with the pallet forks, and I'm going to come in here and slide in there and pick this thing up, and then this hitch will go into this other piece of tubing here, okay? And then I can go and drive up to a trailer, one of our trailers, just pick it up and move it, okay? Screwing around, going, well, you do have to get off the tractor, I guess, to tighten these bolts up, but for the most part, it's much simpler than what I'm doing now. So that's what I'm making. So the first thing I had to do here was this was the tubing I had, okay? This is 3" by something. I guess it would be a 4" by 2" tubing on outside dimensions. The problem is my forks are 4 inches, all right? So this measures about little over 3.5 on the inside, okay? So what I had to do is I took these pieces here and I cut three pieces off of this tube. This was a long piece of tube. So I cut 3 pieces off. And I took one of the pieces and I cut it in half. And then I took the other 2 pieces and I just cut one end off. So my seam is right about here. So I cut one end off, and then I just welded the other half of that other tube onto it. Okay? So now I think I have roughly 4.5 in here. Yeah, so now I have 4.5 in there. So that gives me, you know, a little bit of extra slop for when I drive in with the forks. And you should be able to drive right in there and pick this thing up and go pick up a trailer. The other thing, so then what I was left with was this piece here, and my center line needs to be 28 inches. Now I got that center line off of the forks themselves. You have notches in there that the forks lock into. So I measured the center line of the notches, and that's where I came up with the 28 inches. So I'm off a little bit here. I'm at 27 3/4. So with the slop I have in here, I'll be fine. And the forks aren't tight anyhow, so I'll be fine. You'll just be able to drive in. And then these bolts here are to tighten it down onto the fork so it doesn't slide off on you. Okay? So then, the other thing I'm making this for is I'm also making an adapter. Shouldn't call it an adapter, but an extension. Okay, once this piece is welded in here, all right, then I have this big long tube here. Okay, and that's going to go in there, and I pre-drilled the holes already up here in the front. I got the holes drilled in there that match the holes in this. And then that's going to stick out, and then if I need to lift trusses or something onto a garage or onto a pole barn, as long as it's not too high, you know, I can get it up there. Should be able to get a truss up on top of an 8-foot wall. Okay, so that's what I'm making, and we'll, you know, like I say, you can buy these. Usually they're made for 1 fork. You have 1 fork, and then there's an adapter on there that you can put your hitch ball, your 2" ball into. But I'm making it a little different, and this should work great. So let's get started here. So the first thing I did was I cut this notch out of here. And when I cut this notch, this thing it sprung like crazy, okay? So I'm gonna try and clamp it down and get it as straight as possible again as I weld it. but it's probably going to be off a little bit. I'm probably not going to get this bend out of here. I mean, it worked pretty good. So we're going to try this. So this is the bottom. This would be the bottom, because when you're lifting with your forks, you're going to be lifting up like this here. If you have something out on the end of this thing, so you're going to be lifting. So this is the bottom. So you will be lifting against the smooth side inside here. There's like a weld seam on this tubing. And you probably can't see that on the camera, but there's a weld tubing always has a weld seam in there, unless you buy the DOM, which is drawn over mandrel. But so the flat side is going to be up on the top face of the forks, and then these screws are going to tighten up from the bottom, and that's how I'm going to make it. So I'm going to use my table here kind of as a square. I'm going to line these up here. I'm going to put a couple of clamps on there. Just to hold that down. Okay, and then we're gonna put this right in the center of these here. So yeah, I previously measured all of this. That should be good there. Alright, then I'm just gonna tack that on there. It ain't gonna work, is it? Well, I'll have to hold it. I'm gonna start the welder up and just tack this in place. So I recently bought a new helmet. This is from Yes Welder, and it's off of Amazon. So this one runs about $100, okay? So there were some negative reviews on this, but I wasn't real worried about them, because I'm not a production welder, and I'm just sitting down here in a basement hobby welding basically. So one of the reviews was that these side panels keep blinking, okay? So the reason they're blinking is because the sensitivity is set, and even a light like this here, if I turn a certain way, it darkens, and then it goes light again the minute you turn your head. So one of the guys was annoyed by that. He said that was an issue. I've had no issues with this helmet at all while I'm welding, so I don't really think that's an issue. But yes, it can be annoying that thing is blinking in the side of your head there. But it's because of these lights. So I mean, really all you have to do is shade those lights probably, and that won't happen. They're very bright. I mean, it darkens the main screen as soon as I look at it. So that's what's happening, you know. And it all depends where the sensors are at. It's making that darken. I think it's right here. I think it's right here on the side here is the sensor. So as soon as that sensor sees that light, it blinks. It makes that, turns off that side screen there. But boy, I don't even have to flip the helmet up anymore. This thing is like daylight once you stop welding. So anyhow, the second thing was the headgear, and I would have to agree with that, with the guy's statement that the headgear is kind of chintzy. If you're a production welder and stuff, this probably isn't going to work for you, you know. So I would go get a Miller or a Lincoln or whatever and pay the extra money so you get the good headgear. So yeah, I agree with that one. The other one I think is just, it's an annoyance to the guy, and he wrote a bad review because of it. But other than that, I have had no issues with this helmet. So let's get started here. I'm just gonna put a couple tacks down the side here, just to hold that in place. Alright, here we have it tacked in place. So I think what I'm going to do is I am going to weld this up here tight on the top and on the sides, and then when I flip it over, I'm going to try and bend this center down when I try putting that other tube in there. So let me get this welded up and I'll be back in a second. So I had to go out and find my my bigger clamp here. And I got this pulled down. This is fairly straight. These are a little twisted here, but it is what it is, you know. There's plenty of room in here for the forks to go in. So so we're gonna just weld up this side here, and then we're gonna put the other piece in the middle here. So I bent this thing down way past the opposite way, and when I released this clamp, it went right back to where it was. So I bent it even more now. So let's see if it stays straight this time. I probably shouldn't have cut it this far down. I probably should have only went about halfway. It would have probably been enough surface area to weld on. Yeah, see, that looks like it's still bent. Yeah, it's definitely still humped. We'll go a little further yet. Well, it looks like I'm just bending it the other way, you know. Kind of afraid at some point my table's gonna break here and then I get a clamp in the head or something, you know. I should have my glasses on, right? Just in case. That's been pretty good. You know how far I bent that sucker. What it does this time. Oh, a screw just popped off the table. There, I think we did it that time. Now it went the other way. But that's okay, because it looks like my pockets are straight now. Yeah, it looks like them pockets are straight, so I think I'm going to leave it like that. And just weld this guy in there like that, there. Hold it somewhat straight, tack it in. So I'm just putting a tiny little tack in there. I'm not even using filler rod in it. Then that way I can tap it around a little bit if I have to. That looks good right where it is. I think I'm just going to weld it in. Go on that way. Yeah. So none of this stuff has to be perfect. I mean, your forks are in here slopping around. So none of this has to be that perfect. I mean, if it's off a little bit, it's whatever. It's off a little bit. actually welded pretty nice. When I was welding these other tubes here, I don't know whether there's something in this metal or something, or because I was a good 3/4 of the way across and all of a sudden it just blew up on me, like there was something in there. And I really don't know. And then when I did this side, I had even more issues. But now this one welded perfect, so I don't know. Not really sure what's going on there. Alright, that one welded pretty good too. So, something I noticed, you know, I did a review on this welder that I'm using a while back. And one of the guys commented on there saying that the cables and stuff on this welder were too lightweight for what the amperage is for the welder. And I didn't realize it at the time because I hadn't welded anything heavier. But since then, you know, I've been welding on this tube and this stuff, and I did that whole trailer last summer. He's definitely right. This is the cables are a little bit undersized for what this amperage can put out. I can go up to 200 amps on this welder, but I know you can't smell it, but this plastic on the end of this cable, this clamp here is melting. It smells like burning plastic down here right now, and that's because I got the heat turned up trying to burn in this heavy thick steel like that. So I'm gonna have to look at that and see if I can find a heavier cable one of these days and get that switched out. I found a heavier gun. I bought that. I don't even remember where I got that from, but it should plug right into this welder, and I haven't switched over to it yet. I figured I'd just use this one until it's junk, you know. But I definitely gotta look for a heavier welder clamp also. So, all right, I'm gonna finish welding this up and then I'm gonna show you the finished product. Well, there it is, guys. Not the best welding I've ever done. I may go over this with the stick, just to, cause you know, you're lifting something. I don't want this to break apart, but I don't think it will. I mean, I got plenty of weld on there. Just some of these bubbled up for some reason. I don't really know why. This here welded perfectly here, and this one didn't. So I really can't explain why that's happening. It's like there's something in the steel, but I don't know. But that's it. I got it halfway straight now. I don't know if you noticed this nut right here. That's for a 1/2 inch bolt, and what that's going to do is it's going to tighten this all up. So especially when I got the boom in there, the long piece here, that'll tighten that up so it's not rocking so much. With the hitch, it don't really matter. The hitch in your car rocks like that too. But yeah, that should be it. It's all done. So I even found some red paint here, some Rust-Oleum red paint to match the Branson color. Now this here is Sunrise Red. Somebody on the Branson Facebook group said to try cherry red, but I couldn't find cherry red in the can. I found cherry red in a spray bomb, but not in a can. So I'm thinking this is close enough for what I'm doing. And so I'm gonna fix a couple of these welds off camera, and I am going to get her all painted up, and it should look pretty good. So there you are. So if you enjoyed this video, you know, make sure you give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And we will see you next time. There will be a lot of this stuff coming up. I got a lot of ideas here, so we'll see how many of them I can get done. Okay? Till next time.